A woman wakes up in a remote lake house with a cold metal handcuff locked around her wrist. At first she thinks it's some kind of strange prank from her husband, but the very next moment, her husband suddenly shoots himself in the head. As she looks closer, she realizes the other end of the chain is attached to him. He's dead, his blood is everywhere, and she's now trapped, handcuffed to his corpse, completely alone, miles away from anyone, with no phone, no help, and no way to escape. But the most terrifying part is that this wasn't random. Her husband planned every second of it. The story begins the night before. Emma and her husband Mark were having dinner at a hotel to celebrate their wedding anniversary. Mark was trying to make the evening special, but Emma didn't seem happy. She looked tense and uncomfortable the entire time. During dinner, Mark surprised her with an expensive diamond necklace. Emma pretended to be happy even though she clearly wasn't excited about the gift. She then revealed a surprise of her own. Emma had bought tickets to a big sports match that Mark once said he wanted to attend. She suggested they could go together, but Mark quickly dismissed the idea, saying the teams this season weren't very interesting. Instead, he changed the subject and gently placed the necklace around her neck. After dinner they stepped outside the hotel, where Mark told Emma he had another surprise waiting for her. He said it was already in her pocket. Confused, Emma checked and found a small piece of cloth. Mark explained that she needed to tie it over her eyes. Emma followed his instructions and allowed herself to be blindfolded. Mark then drove her to a lake house that belonged to him. The place held many memories for them because they had spent happy moments there after their marriage. Mark had brought her there to relive those memories. But even in that quiet setting, Emma felt an uneasy sense of fear she couldn't explain. Inside the lake house, the two began talking and it became clear that their relationship had been strained for some time. Mark admitted that he hadn't been a good husband and apologized for the distance between them. He promised he would fix everything and make things right again. After saying this, he kissed Emma and the two eventually became intimate. The night passed and morning arrived. Emma was still asleep while Mark sat quietly beside her on the bed. Suddenly she felt cold and woke up. When she looked down, she saw that a handcuff was locked around her wrist, with the other end attached to Mark. Confused and irritated, Emma demanded to know what kind of joke this was. But before she could understand what was happening, Mark suddenly pulled out a gun and shot himself in the head. Blood splattered across the room and covered Emma as well. His lifeless body collapsed into her lap. For a moment Emma was completely frozen in shock. Then she pushed the body away and tried to get off the bed. But the moment Mark's body fell to the floor, she was dragged down with it. That's when she realized the horrifying truth. The other end of the handcuff was locked around Mark's wrist. She was literally chained to his corpse. Panicking, Emma tried desperately to unlock the handcuffs, but they wouldn't budge. She screamed for help, but the lake house was located in a completely isolated area with no one around for miles. She rushed to the landline phone and tried to call the police, but the phone wasn't working. Just then she noticed the gun Mark had used. Emma grabbed it and tried to break the chain with it, but the gun had only one bullet and Mark had already used it. Frustrated, Emma threw the gun aside and dragged Mark's body into a nearby clothing room, hoping to find something useful. Inside she saw her wedding dress hanging there. She was freezing, but wearing that heavy dress would make it almost impossible to move while dragging a body. While searching the room she noticed a locker that hadn't been there before, but she ignored it and instead placed Mark's body on top of the dress so she could drag him more easily. Despite the horrifying situation, Emma barely reacted emotionally to Mark's death. The truth was that she had never really loved him. In fact, Emma had been secretly involved with one of Mark's employees named Tom and had been cheating on her husband for a long time. That was why she had never seemed happy in the marriage. And it was very possible that Mark had discovered the betrayal. If that was true, then everything that had just happened was not an accident. It was Mark's final plan to punish Emma for her betrayal. Emma struggled as she dragged Mark's body toward the staircase. Her purse was downstairs, and inside it was her phone, the only way she could call for help. But the corpse was far heavier than she expected. As she pulled it down the stairs, the weight slipped from her grip and both of them tumbled violently to the floor. Emma was hurt, but she forced herself to stand and rush to her purse. When she checked her phone, her last hope disappeared. The device had been dropped in water and was completely dead. That was when Emma finally understood the truth. Mark hadn't simply killed himself. Before pulling the trigger, he had carefully planned everything. He had removed every possible way she could escape. Emma searched the house desperately for anything that could help her break the handcuffs, but there were no tools anywhere. Dragging Mark's body was exhausting, and she had no proper clothes to wear. Mark had even hidden her shoes, making it nearly impossible for her to step outside into the freezing snow. Eventually, Emma found the car keys. The car was inside the garage, but reaching it meant dragging Mark's body through the snow. With no other choice, she took off Mark's clothes and wore them for warmth. She wrapped cloth around her feet and slowly dragged the corpse across the frozen ground until she finally reached the garage. Exhausted, she climbed into the driver's seat and tried to start the car. But once again Mark had already planned ahead. The fuel tank was empty. He had drained the gasoline completely. Suddenly the car's music system turned on and began playing a recorded message from Mark. In the recording, he told Emma not to think he had shot himself because he lost. He simply couldn't stand the idea of her being happy with another man. Emma listened to the message while staring at her blood-covered reflection in the mirror. She then went back into the house to wash the blood from her face. Emma barely reacted emotionally to Mark's death. She knew Mark himself had been involved in multiple affairs during their marriage, and now she cursed him for trapping her in such a cruel situation. While cleaning herself, Emma noticed the diamond necklace Mark had given her the night before. She tried to remove it, but the clasp wouldn't open. Even that seemed to be part of Mark's twisted plan. Still, escaping the house mattered more, so she continued searching for a way out. Emma dragged Mark's body down to the basement, hoping to find tools, but there was nothing there. Mark had clearly prepared for every possibility. Exhausted but determined, she pulled the body back upstairs again, refusing to give up. While searching another room, Emma discovered something disturbing. The walls were covered with photos of her and Tom together, along with pictures from her past. Seeing them brought back old memories. Years earlier, Emma had been a professional photographer. One night she was attacked by a criminal named Bobby who tried to rob her. During the fight, Bobby stabbed her in the stomach, but Emma fought back and stabbed him in the eye. That was when she first met Mark, a lawyer who later helped send Bobby to prison. Just then, Emma heard a car pulling up outside the house. When she looked out the door, she was shocked to see Tom, the man she had been secretly seeing. Emma asked why he was there, and Tom explained that she had sent him a message saying she was in trouble. Emma immediately realized the truth. Mark had sent the message before killing himself, luring Tom to the house. Emma quickly told Tom to call the police, but Tom hesitated, worried that they could both get into trouble if the police arrived. Emma exploded with frustration and explained everything that had happened since she woke up. Mark had sabotaged everything, even draining the gasoline from the car. After hearing this, Tom finally understood how serious the situation was. He also revealed that the police had raided Mark's office the previous day and there was now a criminal case against him for destroying evidence. Emma realized Mark knew his life was falling apart and would likely end in prison. Instead of facing it alone, he had decided to ruin her life as well. Tom walked to his car to get his phone and call the police, but before he could make the call, another car suddenly arrived. Tom stepped outside to deal with whoever it was. A man got out and claimed he was a plumber Mark had called. Tom tried to send him away, but suddenly another man stepped out of the car and stabbed Tom in the stomach. The attacker was Bobby, the same criminal Emma had blinded years earlier. Because of her testimony, he had gone to prison. Before his death, Mark had secretly arranged for Bobby to be released and told him about a safe inside the lake house filled with diamonds worth millions. Mark also told him that Emma was there. Tempted by both revenge and money, Bobby arrived with his brother Jimmy. Jimmy believed they were only there to steal the diamonds, but when Bobby stabbed Tom, he became nervous. Bobby convinced him they had already come too far to back out now. The two brothers entered the house, but by then Emma had already hidden. Bobby ordered Jimmy to search for her because he wanted revenge. Meanwhile, Emma slipped into the garage near the lake and found a heavy shovel-like tool. She realized there was only one way left to survive. Gathering all her courage, she used the tool to cut off Mark's hand and finally free herself from the handcuffs. But the noise echoed through the garage. Jimmy heard it and rushed in with Bobby. They found Mark's corpse lying there, but Emma had already disappeared. Jimmy assumed she must have run far away, but Bobby noticed footprints in the snow and realized she couldn't have gone far without shoes. Jimmy suggested forgetting about the girl and focusing on the diamonds, but Bobby explained that the safe required a code known only to Mark and Emma. Since Mark was dead, they would have to find Emma to open it. The two brothers returned to the house to search for her. Meanwhile, Emma discovered something important near a boat by the lake. There was fuel stored inside it. She grabbed the container and quietly moved back toward the garage, hoping the car might still move long enough for her to escape. At the same time, Jimmy told Bobby that the safe was extremely advanced and required not only the code but also Mark's fingerprint. That meant they would need Mark's body as well. Hearing this, Bobby sent Jimmy to retrieve the corpse while he continued searching the house for Emma. Emma finally reached the garage and began pouring the fuel she had found into the car's tank. For the first time since this nightmare began, it felt like she might actually escape. But while she was working, she accidentally made a noise. Bobby heard it from inside the house and rushed toward the garage. The moment Emma saw him approaching, she quickly hid and slipped out of the garage before he could notice her. Bobby stepped inside and immediately realized what she had been trying to do. To make sure she couldn't escape using the car, he stabbed the tires with his knife, leaving them completely flat. By then, Emma had already run toward the basement. But as she moved through the house, Bobby caught a glimpse of her shadow and began chasing her. Inside the basement entrance stood Jimmy while Bobby was coming from behind. Emma suddenly realized she was trapped between them. Thinking quickly, she pressed the car key and triggered the horn outside. The loud noise echoed through the garage. Both Bobby and Jimmy rushed outside to check it. Using the distraction, Emma ran to Tom's body and quickly took his coat and shoes so she could protect herself from the freezing cold. When the brothers returned, they understood Emma was still somewhere inside the house. Bobby searched the upper level while Jimmy checked the rooms below. Emma hid above them near the ceiling beams. The moment Bobby climbed up to investigate, she struck him with a golf club and sent him crashing down. Jimmy rushed in to help, but Emma hit him as well before running away again. Emma reached the car and tried to start it. She was seconds away from escaping when Bobby suddenly smashed the window and grabbed her. In desperation, Emma managed to dial the police, but Bobby snatched the phone and ended the call. Furious, he beat her until she lost consciousness. When Jimmy realized Emma had called the police, he panicked and begged Bobby to leave before officers arrived. But Bobby had gone too far to stop. Instead, he threatened Jimmy and forced him to continue helping. Jimmy had only come to steal diamonds and had never planned to hurt anyone, but now he had no choice. When Emma regained consciousness, she found herself handcuffed to Mark's corpse again. Bobby demanded that she tell him the exact date when Mark had proposed to her. Emma knew that once he got the information he might kill her, so she refused to answer. Bobby stepped closer with a knife, trying to scare her into talking. At that moment, Jimmy intervened. He didn't want another death. Jimmy had found Mark's gun and pointed it at Bobby, forcing him to step back. Then he made Emma a deal. If she told them the date, they would open the safe, take the diamonds, and leave her alive. Emma agreed, but only if the handcuffs were removed first. Jimmy reluctantly unlocked them. Once she was free, Emma told Bobby the date. Bobby immediately opened the safe, but when the door swung open, there were no diamonds inside. Instead, there was only a knife and a message saying the diamonds were close to Emma's heart. Bobby slowly looked at the necklace around Emma's neck and realized the truth. The diamonds he came to steal were inside that necklace. Emma explained she had already tried removing it, but it wouldn't open. Bobby studied the knife and understood Mark's final trap. The necklace could only be removed by cutting Emma's throat. Jimmy refused to let that happen and tried to break the necklace instead, but it wouldn't snap. Suddenly, Bobby grabbed the gun from Jimmy and pointed it at Emma. He pulled the trigger, but the gun clicked empty. Enraged, Bobby lunged at Emma with a knife. Jimmy tried to stop him, but Bobby shoved him aside. Jimmy fell backward and struck his head on a sharp nail sticking out of the wall, killing him instantly. Seeing his brother dead filled Bobby with rage. He blamed Emma for everything and attacked her violently. He stabbed her in the leg and raised the knife again to finish the job. But Emma refused to give up. During the struggle, she grabbed a pair of pliers and smashed them against Bobby's head, knocking him to the ground. Before he could recover, she quickly handcuffed Bobby to Mark's corpse. Emma ran toward the door, hoping to escape. But Bobby regained consciousness and began chasing her while dragging Mark's body behind him. The weight caused him to stumble down the stairs, yet he kept coming. Emma reached the car and drove forward, trying to ram Bobby and escape. But the damaged tire slipped onto the frozen lake near the shore and the car became stuck. With no other option, Emma abandoned the vehicle and crawled across the icy surface because her injured leg made it impossible to run. Moments later, Bobby caught up to her on the ice. He grabbed her and attacked with a knife, but Emma still refused to surrender. During the struggle, she forced Bobby's knife into his shoulder. At the same moment, the thin ice beneath them cracked. Both of them plunged into the freezing lake. Bobby was still chained to Mark's corpse, which dragged him deeper into the water. Even while drowning, he tried to pull Emma down with him, but Emma fought back with the last strength she had left. She pulled the knife from Bobby's shoulder and swung it blindly, striking him directly in the eye. His grip loosened instantly. Trapped with Mark's corpse pulling him under, Bobby sank into the icy water and drowned. Emma finally managed to pull herself out of the lake and collapsed on the frozen ground, gasping for air. Mark had designed a perfect revenge trap meant to destroy her life. But in the end, despite every trap and every attacker, Emma was the only one who survived it. If you enjoyed this recap, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more intense movie breakdowns like this one.